We're back. I wanted to talk today about something that I thought about just this morning. I was watching a show about things happening faster, so that we can get an answer or we can get something that we want. And I want to talk about that because I think it's unrealistic and doesn't deliver what you really want if you end up getting a quick reply or response. I think you're losing something. And not only that, I think there's a manipulation going on with technology because they're giving you the suggestion that what you're going to get is going to be quicker. For example, AI. um, so when it comes to happiness, the old things that we used to rely on, like things taking a little while, like when you mailed a letter to somebody and the expectation is it's going to take a while to get a reply letter. And it's usually worth it. Why it's worth it is because of the anticipation. You may not get a perfect letter. It may not have everything in it that you wanted or that kept your attention or that was exciting. But it isn't that always when it comes to things like that. Maybe your expectation is kind of out of line. Um, the main thing was the anticipation of its arrival. So things like that will be lost if you expect an answer immediately. So based on that thinking, the response you do get when it's quick is probably going to be something that's contrived. It's already figured out ahead of time. So there's no thought going into it about your needs in particular or catering to your specifics in the question. So you're going to end up getting something that is not what you were looking for. If you're happy with that, which I can't see you would be, because then you're going to have to go and try and find it somewhere else, and it's an onward journey, then it begs the question, maybe it's better to have things a little slower. Um, for example, nowadays, when you go to a business online, for example, they have some sort of a chat bot that talks to you back and forth. That's their way of letting you be given an answer if you need something right away. But as I said, those answers have all been contrived. They've all been figured out ahead of time because they know the questions you're going to ask. And this is not really a service for you. What it is a service for them. Because it means that now the company isn't constantly answering phones or constantly looking after customers directly. They're doing it indirectly. So you're given the illusion that, yes, you got an answer and it was right away. So it kind of keeps you calm about getting a reply, but it's not what you wanted. This often happens anyway, because if you're speaking to a chatbot, trying to define what you're looking for is very difficult, and half the time it doesn't understand what you're talking about. And then you go through all of that only to be referred eventually to somebody who's a human who will answer you. So you might say, well, yeah, I got my answer, but look at the way you had to go about it in order to get there. What they've done instead of giving you what you actually want is an alternative. They're not doing it for you. They're doing it for them. But you have the illusion that you're getting an answer. So this whole concept of speed is contorted because, for example, you would look at an AI and you'll ask them a question, and yeah, they'll give you this nice, long, lengthy, you know, answer to your question, but it's based on everything that it's gathered from before. There's nothing original in it. Um, and while it might seem impressive to you because it came up so quickly, again, you're being given recycled information, nothing new, nothing original, um, and it will appease you because it's general. But if you want something very specific, now you have to be trained in order to know the prompt that you have to give to get the best results. So, and this is where it's funny. Now, because you have to put in all of the information for the prompt, which is more extensive, you're taking more time to put this question in the first place, so you're not getting it in a speedy fashion. And it might take more than one go around to get to where you want to go. So this whole business of a speedy answer is really an illusion, as I said. You're not really getting what you think you are. And then there's the whole business of the human being lost in things like that. An AI is a great help for general things. But as a human being, often when we ask a question, even if we know how to pose the question, because we're talking with an AI, for example, we may not still get what we're really looking for because as humans, we're a little complicated. There's usually something more we want, and it's because of our human needs that we're even asking the question in the first place. But an AI isn't going to understand that, and it's not going to redirect to what you really want because it doesn't know what you want. It's going kind of like in concrete terms, like a child would when you answer a question for a child and they just take away concrete things like this and this is that. There is no deviation, there is no change. It's just that way in concrete terms. It's life isn't like that. As you get older and your brain develops, you form all kinds of interesting concepts, which form these questions. And so the speedy replies you're asking for are almost unreasonable because an entity like an AI can't possibly understand who you are. They know what they're being told to tell you by another human being, but that doesn't make them understand what you really want. So some of the old ways of doing things where it takes a little time um, is worth it. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're trying to find an answer to a question, and then you don't really want to fool around with an AI because maybe you're not as good at prompts or whatever. Maybe you have to pay for the AI. Maybe you just want to be. It's a personal question, so you want to find out yourself. There's nothing wrong with looking it up online. If you're good at housing the question so that you know, again, what you want. And you will get a number of different things, a number of different rabbit holes to go down. This is the journey that is half the fun in finding the answer. If you don't have that journey, how you got there, you lose something. You lose the effort you made to get there. You lose the funny things that happen on the way there. You lose the information you gained once you got there, or even before you got there. We're very complicated as human beings, and so having things sort of suddenly appear that we weren't expecting is half the fun. So if you're anticipating that you're going to get the best answer because it's fast, I think that will delete a lot of your happiness because happiness is gained through repeated actions in different directions. I mean, you don't go in the same direction if it didn't deliver what you wanted, right? You go down another path. So you're denying yourself that journey. So don't be so, excuse the pun, quick to want fast answers because you're denying yourself part of that evolution. You know, you become another person, a little more, a little wiser, a little more informed, and so forth because of the effort you made to do it yourself. Don't deny yourself that. Just realize that there's a whole lot of life out there, and it's usually because you made an effort. I mean, when you think about, say, you're looking for a permanent partner, you would want to take that time to find out who they really are, right? So speed doesn't have to be part of the picture. It can be in some areas, for sure, especially the mundane, repetitive things that you want to improve. Uh, but every time somebody tries to sell you something that sounds really wonderful and immediate, just remember that there's probably some sort of manipulation going on there. And while there might be some truth to it, you still are human and still require these kind of adventurous uh, paths that you take. And I think you shouldn't deny yourself that. So think about it when it comes down to speed. Slower sometimes is the best bet. So I enjoyed talking and I hope you enjoyed listening. Please just support my channel. It's a journey for me too. Anyway, thank you for being here and we'll see you again next time.